No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. Charles Dickens.
Disabled people get better. Esther McVeigh, former Parliamentary Under Secretary of State for Disabled People.
Money in the bank, shoes on your feet. Now you're queuing at the bank for something to eat in a new Dickensian days. Ripped up your windows cause you couldn't pay the tax. Now you're boarding up the bedroom, sleeping in the bath in a new Dickensian days. Do you want some more, my friend? Do you want some more, my friend? Do you want some more, my friend? In the workhouse again. Last bus is gone at the end of the night. You're walking home in the dark, cause there isn't any light in the new Dickensian days. There's an old woman shivering, wrapped in a plastic bag, puts food on a plate, but she gives it to the cat in the new Dickensian days. Do you want some more, my friend? Do you want some more, my friend? Do you want some more, my friend? In the workhouse again.
Ethan Shrew was true to his name. Of his humble beginnings, he was secretly ashamed. He left his family where it was grim up north, and a girl named Isabel with a broken heart. He came to London seeking fortune and fame, where the big issue vendors had issues with him. Shrew saw people as commodities, to buy and sell as he pleased. He was only concerned with how much he'd made as he wheeled and dealed on the stock exchange. When the senior partner died, Ethan took his place. He had to think of a description for his old man's grave. But he said he hardly knew him, so he wasn't really sure. But at the stonemasons' prices, they'd better keep it short. His boss had always treated his employees with contempt. Shrew did likewise, but without the sentiment. It was tough at the top of the corporate ladder. You could still make a killing. Casualties didn't matter.
This is the story of Ethan Shrew. It has a cost but no value. He lived his life to only one end, and to that end his life did descend.
Poor Rob Cadgett was Shrew's associate. He was treated like a servant, but he put up with it. For his lowly position there was no sympathy. Rob was a single parent with a daughter, Emily. His wife died giving birth to the baby that took her name. With the loss of his spouse and childcare to pay, Cadgett always struggled from day to day. If I was in your position, I think I would kill myself, Shrew would sneer as he tightened his belt.
But she spoke the truth, that's worth much more in my book. And remember as you go that she's guiding you. Eyes like a child cradled in a song,
Cadgett was shy and withdrawn. She'd been that way since the day she was born. A motherless child, she felt like a freak. She was too proud to cry and too frightened to speak. She loved her father, but blamed him too for losing the mother that she never knew. She felt like an outcast right from the start. An emotional martyr, she needed the scars.
You can see she's crushed, she's damaged goods, rocking back and forth. The girl's seen too much, and there's no escape, no therapy, no answer that she can see. It's written in her arms, self-harm. It's written in her arms, all the self-harm. You know a teenage soul, it's just like charcoal. It's deep and dark, and it's fragile, and everything is black and white. Everything is wrong and right. It's written in her arms, self-harm. Written in her arms, self-harm. She's self-absorbed in the psyche ward. There's nothing sharp, it's just locked doors. Every visitor judges her, watches her disappear. It's written in her arms, the self-harm. Written in her arms, all the self-harm.
It was as if everything Shrew did lacked decorum, the consequences of which did not concern him. Whether it was ecological or environmental, if it yielded a profit, he did not quibble. If nature's genes were spawned in a petri dish, the surplus could be sold to make him rich.
Montessori ways, take away the takeaway. Fresh produce dying on the vine. Frankenstein foods breaking out of the laboratory at a genome factory. Why do we rape the world we live in? While profit reigns supreme, poison the purity of nature to increase the profit stream. Montessori days, take away the takeaway. Fresh produce, it's dying on the vine. Frankenstein food breaking out of the laboratory at the genome factory. Remember the Garden of Eden. We stole the apple away.
everyone has left, but Shrewd is working late. Before closing his computer, he notices a mail. It's from his childhood sweetheart and fiancée, Isabel. Dear Ethan, I believe you are doing very well. You have become a rich man. You must be proud of yourself. I would feel shy and awkward to meet you again today. Our contract is an old one with no profit for you to make. I've married a good man who loves me very much. Your mother and father miss you. I believe you lost touch. Happy Christmas, Ethan. I send you all my love for the boy you once were, not the man you have become.
These strings we use to tie ourselves, we pull tight with our teeth, like a rope around a beast. It'll bring us to our knees, like the line behind a harpoon, the spear of destiny. We learn to walk between the slack, like a dog upon a lead. These strings, lovers tied to bind them, to keep themselves entwined. These strings, if they should fray, oh, we untie them. Our love's unraveling. Let us cast aside the yarn, the spindle and the twine. Let us not be tethered like some bird upon a wire. These strings, lovers tied to bind them, to keep themselves entwined. These strings, if they should fray, oh, we untie them. Our love's unraveling.
Then the screen darkens, and he stares at his own reflection. There is a look in his eyes of sad recollection. Shrew deletes the message and feels something on his fingers. Just coffee or water spilled whilst he was reading. Bah! Whatever! Collecting his thoughts, he is startled by the sight of figures outside the office window with spray paint in their hands. Anti-capitalist protesters have scaled the building's sides, menacing silhouettes caught in a helicopter's lights. In dark hoods and masks, they seem like phantoms in the air. As Ethan calls security, they dog his window with two words. Written in reverse, he cannot seem to make them out. He runs, terrified, from his office. No one is about. On the ground, he finds the police have arrived with guns. Won't they come down, he asks, and forgo their demands? Some would rather die than do that, sir, and face incarceration. Maybe they should do that then and save us all this aggravation. That's rather harsh. They believe their cause is right. Well, I'm a wealthy businessman. It's me that they despise. As Shrewd leaves the building, he can see the graffiti high above. Just two words across the window. Ignorance and want.
Are there no prisons, no workhouses for them to go? If they'd rather die than go there, then they should do it and keep the population low. There's no sentiment in business, no sympathy at all. If you fall between the cracks, my friend, wretches to go. If they'd rather die than go there, let them do it. Keep the surface population low. You can exchange a needle or money on the stock exchange, but you're only swapping one crutch for just another that's the same. Are there no prisons, no workhouses?
In the commotion of the evening, it slipped Ethan's mind. He had a date with a female acquaintance he saw from time to time. Esther Macbeth was conventionally pretty. She was in the department of welfare and he voiced all pity. They were more friends with benefits than lovers of choice, which was ironic, because it was people's benefits she wanted to cut. When Shrewd got to the bar, Esther was waiting. She'd made the front pages of the papers and was celebrating. The bar's resident singer crooned a fitting tribute to her. She listened, glassy-eyed, chin resting on her hand with a smug sneer.
Bitch. Hey baby, why don't you change your evil ways? My baby, why don't you put the axe away? You might have to use it on yourself one of these days. Hey baby, I like that dress that you wear. Pretty baby, I've seen it on someone else somewhere. A greengrocer's daughter, you know you remind me of her. Tell me, how many bedrooms have you got? Sweet baby, why do you always keep them locked? Are they full of disabled people whose benefits you stop? Well baby, change your evil ways. Hey baby, why don't you put the axe away? You know they're gonna use it on you one of these days.
There was a selection of festive cocktails to pick from. They chose the Christmas cracker, 3 spirits, for the price of 1. The drinks were potent, and they soon took their toll. Shrewd is constantly harassed as he staggers home. Can you spare some change for Christmas, Governor? I don't do it myself, so I'm definitely not doing yours, Shrewd boasts. But, Governor, we're the ones who need Christmas most.
The lolly and the envy, evergreen jealousy between 2 different presents under the Christmas tree. like Jesus knocking over tables at a church hall event.
Disorientated from drink, Shrewd feels queasy as he passes the cash machine, a little uneasy. In the shadows of the wall, he can make out a figure. "Who's there?" he asks, his mouth dry with fear. "Don't you recognise me, Ethan?" the voice inquires. "In life I was your boss, whom you replaced when I died. I can only appear before you at this time of the financial year. You're emotionally bankrupt and your conscience will not clear." "But if you're dead, what are you doing at a cash machine? There's more black hole than hole in the wall about you," scoffed Ethan. "Ethan Shrewd, you won't find it so funny. This bank account has more interest for you than for me. Look at the name and the balance and be warned. Ethan Shrewd, account withdrawn." "But why's my account been mysteriously closed?" "Because, Shrewd, there's a charge on every man's soul." "If I'm so cold-hearted, maybe I should open an ISA. Night-night." Despairingly, the figure requests a receipt from the machine. "You pay this in life with the deeds that you do, or you pay it in death when the balance is due." "Boss, what's it like when you are where you are now?" "It's terrible if you must know. It's like a morgue. It's been a bit more exciting since David Bowie arrived, but he keeps asking what the time is. They all do that when they first get here, but there is no time. You can't be late or early for anything. You're just waiting, waiting, and waiting." "I'm sorry, boss. What is the price? Can I settle the debt?" On the printed receipt, one word: death.
He's bringing the presents back. Bargain booze, it's cheap. You can't stand on your feet. It's New Year's Eve. Every day of the week, you're handcuffed in the back of a van. Arrest ye merry gentleman. It's 5 gold rings, all the children's things. The cash converter is converting everything. There's no room at the hostel we're in, but I think that we can squeeze you in. We're closing the door. We're closing the door.
Shrewd's dreams that night were full of nightmarish visions of vaudeville acts and Victorian villains. The office blocks were empty, burnt-out shells. Torn banknotes littered the scene of something terrible. He saw a guillotine where the blade was a huge credit card. The executioner was beckoning someone to come forward. "No, no, no!" screamed Shrewd and tried to escape. But wherever he tried to run, his evil deeds stood in the way. Then a busker on the street that Shrewd saw every day stood up on the gallows and began to sing and play.
Every morning you'll find me here,
Scrooge was never the same. He took his eye off the ball and couldn't play the game. Spending hours locked away, alone in his apartment, he didn't answer calls or turn up for appointments. Finding a tiny room far from a fashionable address, his life unravelled as he became more and more depressed.
Like dominoes, the wind it pokes its nose where it's not wanted. The stair carpet, it's all in threads. The gas meter, it must be fed and watered. But you always come around, without a word, without a sound. Gonna hang my excuses for being wrong. Someone left the water running, someone left the morning where we couldn't find it. What kind of milk is this? Please don't mind the little bits floating around it. But you always come around, without a word, without a sound. One day they're gonna hang my sense of humor for laughing out loud.
Was growing up but still felt out of time. She always thought she'd been conceived on a production line. Without a mother's love, she felt she was missing out on something that others had, but they took for granted. Her father was dismayed because deep down he knew the only way he could fill the void was to tear himself in two.
Time for me to realize I'm not a victim. All the emptiness thrown out of the nest when I was just a baby. The conveyor belt keeps moving along. People in our lives who are gone, you try and slow it down, but it just keeps coming round like a shadow of the sun. When love is eclipsed, everything is hid. Everyone's hiding something. The pain stands in the way of what we need to say, or the self-delusion. The conveyor belt keeps moving along. Days in our lives that are gone, we try to slow it down. It just keeps on coming round like a shadow of the sun, of the sun.
once rushed to work at the altar of his greed. Now he took the longer way and walked at half the speed. He began to notice things that he'd never seen before, like the homeless in the doorways and beggars on the floor. Ethan had never spared the time for the city and all its life, but most of all it was the people to which he had been blind. He noticed how the passers-by averted their gaze or looked down. Tall buildings hid the sun, blocking out the light on the ground. Like steel and glass temples honouring the deities of commerce, he wondered, could only avarice exist in these gilded places? If people like lights on each floor went out one by one, in the darkness, would anyone miss them when they were gone?
I wish the clock had stopped. I wish you'd been sick that day and called your meeting off. I wish we'd seen things through. When we were young and at college, the things we planned to do. You were my tower of strength, my tower of strength, my tower of strength. But when the towers fell, there was nothing left. I wish heaven had a door I could open and see your face once more. I've got the last words you ever wrote by some wine babe on a post-it note. You were my tower of strength, my tower of strength, my tower of strength. But when the tower fell, there was nothing left.
Even the doorman at his building noticed the change in him. He struck a pathetic figure, now a shadow of who he'd been. Rob Cadgett knew that Shrewd's days were numbered, but he took no pleasure in his decline and misfortune. They'd recently had a conversation that was sadly prophetic, as if by an altered course, Shrewd could change things for the better. Cadgett, do you think you could do my job if I died? Because they would never give it to you while I'm alive. That night in the lift on each floor as it descended, Shrewd was joined by colleagues that in the past he'd offended.
Early morning London, at its very heart, a trader's trading places with the dustman's cart. He had to be ruthless, more ruthless than all the rest. Shrewd by name and nature, they said he was the best. And if you're gonna make a living, it's only dead men's shoes. If you're man enough to do it, go on son, fill your boots. In the financial district, he was the head of some cartel. It wasn't the state of Denmark, but it was rotten, you could tell. So many of his minions, the ones that used to make the tea, well, he sacked them at Christmas, at the party. If you're gonna make a living, there's only dead men's shoes. If you're man enough to do it, go on son, fill your boots. It's all Facebook. Once he tweeted the cleaner as she was locking up, leave the mop and bucket and go and sling your hook. If you're gonna make a living, it's only dead men's shoes. But if you're man enough to do it, go on kid, fill your boots. You could see it coming, he was bound to make a slip. There'd been some projections and he'd missed the target. So he crawled along the square mile on his hands and knees. He was locked out of the kingdom to which he used to hold the keys. And all the vultures on Canary Wharf, they circled above him, they watched him like a whore. And when he finally stumbled, they came in for the kill and picked clean his carcass, blood dripping from their bills. If you want to make a living, step into dead men's shoes. If you're man enough to do it, go on son, fill your boots.
The sound of Bow bells at midnight near the Thames. Shrewd sits alone watching the river from a bench. His possessions are on the floor. With his phone he takes a picture. He uploads it onto Facebook with the comment, "Please share." Even Shrewd smiled at the irony of a street person joining him for company.
Hanging out with the winos, the Dawsons and the squatters, trying to emulate their lives. You gotta get out of jail free card and a diamond in your pocket. You never paid the fine or did the time. Broken man, where do the pieces fit? You've got me puzzled in the way that
morning at the office, there is no sign of him. Rob Cadgett calls the police and they start searching. All afternoon, Cadgett stares at Shrewd's empty desk. His phone and wallet are found, but never anything else.
There's a time in every man's life when he must stand in judgment of all the things he did wrong or right, or face the punishment, the truth, only the truth when it's heard and told at the trial of your soul. Ethan Shrew was guilty of all the offenses that were shown. The judge in a wig and a gown ordered taken down to where the fire eternally burns and all of your malevolence returned. The truth, only the truth when it's told will be heard at the trial of your soul. Are there no prisons, no workhouses for them to go? If they'd rather die than go there, they should do it. Keep the population low. This is the story of one man's fate, that you in your life can still escape. Always spare a thought for your fellow man, and always help him any way you can in these new Dickensian days.
I am your master and your master's master. I am the dragon's teeth which you have sown in the field of dead men's and live men's bones. I am the moving belt you cannot turn from, the threat behind the smiling of the clock, the paper on which your days are signed and witnessed, which only the mouse and the moth and the flame dare devour. I am the rustle of banknotes in your graves, the crackle of lawyers' seals beneath your tombstones, born to the lending ears of beneficiaries. I am the cunning one, whose final cunning was to buy grace, to corner loveliness, to make a bid for beauty, and to win it and lock it away.
Money in the bank, shoes on your feet, but now you're queuing at the bank for something to eat. In the new Dickensian days, bricked up your windows when you couldn't pay the tax. Now you're boarding up the bedroom and you're sleeping in your bath. In the new Dickensian days, do you want some more, my friend? Do you want some more, my friend? Do you want some more, my friend? In the workhouse again. Last Christmas is left at the end of the night, walking home in the dark, 'cause there isn't any lamplight in the new Dickensian days. Old woman shivering, she's wrapped in a plastic bag, puts the food that she's got on a plate, feeds the cat in the new Dickensian days. Do you want some more? Please sir, want some more? Well, do you want some more, my friend? In the workhouse again. Money in the bank, warm shoes on your feet. Now you're queuing at the food bank for something to eat. In the new Dickensian days. Thank you. Mal Robinson, Ramsey Campbell, Rebecca Grimley, Lee Mars, Dean Johnson, and over there, the busker in the street there, Tom Hutchinson. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, please.